right, guys, welcome to this episode. Before we get started with our guests, we want to let you know this episode is sponsored by Dizon of Sports, makers of the FST joggers, Grind Air gloves. If you go to their website, use code OVERSHOT, you will get 10% off. We really love it when you use it. He finds out and then he sends us an email. All these people use the code and it looks good for us. But I'm not going to waste too much time on that because we are super lucky to be talking to Ronnie Dizon of many teams, Houston Heat, and so we're just going to get cracking with the questions. The Pro Tour, everyone just watched it. You beat Ryan Greenspan. I watched it again before you were coming on. How was that?
Dude, that was amazing. Actually, for the people who don't know, that was filmed about a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, it took a long time for them to edit because they have about one or two editors over there, mostly one, and it's Dave Quitman. And for him to balance like doing the event videos and then like the side event videos and scenarios, it was hard for him to like sit down and edit. So there's about 100 hours that went into editing that entire video. Yeah. So that's the reason why it took so long, obviously. But yeah, no, it was really amazing. It was really cool to get the call from Brandon Short and say, hey, we want to put you out on here against Ryan Greenspan, which if you guys saw, he was like obviously somebody who I've looked up to since I started playing paintball. I started playing paintball in like 2004. So just being around the Dynasty guys when I was younger and like watching them in their prime and then having to play him was super cool. And at least for like the kid in me, I was just like all like excited and hyped for it. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. It's hard to internalize that for some people because it's like I play at the pro division against him, but at the same time, it's still there's just that place in my like paintball child heart almost that's like, okay, it's still Ryan Greenspan, so yeah, it's pretty tight.
Right. So what did you think of that format with the bunkers being worth a certain amount of points? What was your whole thought about that?
So I didn't even know about that until like maybe like a few days before I went out there. So for me, after watching the first pro tour, I was like, okay, cool. You just got to win some one-on-ones. That's it. But it's like, there was more strategy to it, right? Like they said in the video, like there's that 3-pointers, 2-pointers. So like, I remember if you watch the last 3 points, I obviously was doing it in my head as I was playing. I was just keeping track of the score. And if you watch the last 3 points, I'm like, okay, like just in basketball, it's like to win this game, I could keep shooting ones, or it's like, okay, I'm going to go for 2 threes and I'm going to go for a 2. And that's how I was like, okay, just shoot the threes, just get them in position where I can get them, shoot these threes and then like shoot a 2 and then be done with it. So obviously I executed that. And that's how I kind of put it in my mind. Like I was like, don't give him, if I was like, if he gets a 1 on me, so a 1 would be like the first obviously yard line if you guys didn't see it. And they had it with like the first yard line, the second yard line, the third yard line of row of bunkers. Like it was first point, second point, third point. But I was like, if he gets 1s, I'm fine with that. But if I keeps just going for the big shots, then right, it'll just lock away the win. So that's what I mean. I really had a good time. I like what they did with that. I like that they're changing it up and trying to do different things rather than the normal, elimination. So it was really cool.
All right. I really like that too, that they're just trying new things.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really neat. So
are you going to, sorry to step on your toes, Travis, but are you going to be have you been asked about the Go Sports version of that? I know they're looking to do the ultimate shootout or whatever it's called.
Yeah, so I haven't been asked yet, and as it looks like they're doing a bunch of AC Dallas and X Factor players, and I think because obviously they're all local to Texas, so they're probably going to try to keep it in that area. It'd be easier for them to film the first few ones. So, I mean, if they give me the call, I'll go out there. It looks like a really fun format. To me, I don't know. They haven't released the rules yet. Is that right?
So, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. No, not that I know of. I just saw the quick teaser or whatever, and I know it's similar kind of to the Pro Tour.
Yeah, it looks interesting with the buzzer. Like, so I think what people are doing, especially all these people doing the one-on-one tournaments, because I think Bear DeGidio just announced one of his, but I don't know if he's going to be, he's a big internet troll, right? But so I think, and what HK tried to do, and they did great, and I think what Ultimate Shootout's trying to do is it's trying to make it easier for a spectator to watch who's never seen paintball, right? It's the focal point. So you watch basketball, you watch all these, the focal point's a ball, right? You watch racing, the focal point's who's in first place. For paintball, it's really hard because you're playing 5-on-5, and for people to understand, like, okay, you have to watch all 5 guys on this side and all 5 guys on this side, and then all these guys clash, and then like who wins, right? So I think with the button, they have a buzzer or a button. That's so interesting to me to see how they're going to implement that to show like a focal point of like hit the buzzer, you get a point. I'm assuming, but yeah, it looks like it's like on the 50-yard line, and if you hit the buzzer, you get a point. But that's a very hard spot to get to with someone shooting at you. So it's interesting. I'm really excited to see it and maybe play it.
Yeah, exactly. So from being someone who played the Pro Tour, you can see how kind of small the field is that they're trying to set up. What do you think that's going to be easy, or do you think it's going to be nearly impossible to try and hit that buzzer pretty quick?
So
it looks like it's kind of the same size field. It's really hard to tell from the videos, but I'm assuming it's definitely going to be on like the smaller side.
I truly think it's going to be difficult to hit that button. I mean, if you think about it, dude, even taking one bump against a pro player in a one-on-one, like that person gets seen, right? Mm-hmm. So as you saw on the Pro Tour, so like to make a bump and hit a button, it's going to be like buzzer beating moments where you're like one bunker away and that person is just like, I can't like think about it. If you're a guy who's in the back spots and you're far from your buzzer and that person's close to their buzzer, like you're like, I can't let off this guy. He's going to hit that button, Mm-hmm. So it's going to encourage aggression, which is going to be super interesting to watch. I'm assuming each buzzer is going to be a point, and I'm assuming that you're to race to a certain amount of points. So you're going to have a lot of athleticism and endurance to hit that buzzer. So, it's going to be really interesting to watch some of these matchups, especially like Jesse and Clint, because I saw they did Clint like kind of talking smack to Jesse.
Yeah,
it was great.
Yeah, it was good. It's good. They're stirring some drama. It's going to be good. So that's what paintball needs.
Yeah, man. So I got a kind of a question or something a little bit. I know I heard you do a couple different interviews, I think with Go Sports with Brad from Paintball Therapy and stuff like that. So I know actually LJ Woodley is originally he actually went to high school with me. And when I was playing woods ball, when I was playing woods ball and shit, like he'd be like, dude, he'd be like, I'm going to Chicago for practice. And he'd be like, oh my God, dude, that's crazy. He's going to Chicago. I think it was like D2 or something at the time, but I thought it was crazy. So kind of going off that, I mean, is your guys' relationship, good now? I know you said there was like a time where it was a little shaky or anything like that. Not that you ever hated the guy, but I know you guys came up, through Distortion, then Heat, then Aftershock, and then you guys kind of parted ways a little bit. He's on, X Factor. You're back with Heat, so.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I did a video on my YouTube channel that kind of explained that we had a falling out, and towards the end of that, I talked about how we're good now, and we honestly, like I said, like when you like, it's different with like a relationship with like a significant other, right? But when you have a relationship with a friend who falls out, and then you guys end up like making up essentially and becoming friends again, that obviously there is that like, oh, you did this to me, you did that to me, kind of like in the back of your mind. But more or less, like at the time, there was just a lot of personal things going on, and we just had different viewpoints. And that's what it was. I mean, initially, like to break down, like not to go into full detail, but like I was on Aftershock, and then like there was a lot of work ethic that was involved with like going to practices, and sometimes, and I'll be honest, like LJ just wasn't motivated to go to practices, and it was kind of hard to be motivated with how poorly we were doing that year, Yeah. And he'll admit it too, more or less, like he was going through some things. He left the team, and then like that was kind of like the splitting up moment where it was like, okay, well, I'm going to stick this out and see where it takes me after that. But honestly, now after everything, and he's still one of my best friends, probably one of the closest people I talk to, and it's great to be able to look back on that and be like, yeah, we've made it through that. We can be stronger friends now. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. So I talked to him actually, like, at least every week. He was trying to come over to get a haircut for my girlfriend, but because my girlfriend is a hairstylist and she cuts my hair. But I'm like, have you been home and staying home for like 2 weeks? And he's like, I'm like, that's a no. You're not coming over.
Because he does a lot of work with China and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
he's like an importer exporter, from what I know. You know what I mean? I don't know exactly what he does, but I mean, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, but like, I don't know if he had to do anything. Like, and more or less, it has to do with him. He just went to Costa Rica or something, and then like I think he just bebops around. He's just kind of that guy. And with my girlfriend having she has asthma, so like I don't want anything, like just the smallest thing. She's just as susceptible as like an older person or like a baby, right? So to have her safety and just like to have people come over. That was the thing. So, but that was the last time I spoke with him. So we're good.
He's like, dude, I need a haircut, man.
Yeah,
Nobody's
dude.
giving him. Hook me up with a haircut for
Yeah,
sure.
he give me the call. He be the old chat like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm good. What do you need?" It's like, oh, I need a haircut. I'm like, I know. But yeah, no, he's a good guy, great guy.
I know everything's kind of like up in the air with COVID and everything, but do you have plans to go overseas and play the NXL Europe events with the team?
So if I were to go over there, I would have to find a team because they stopped bringing like any other NXL teams over because it was just wasn't like, I mean, if you look at the results from the past year, it was literally the same top 4 teams, maybe one team dropped, right? So I don't plan on going over there at least this year. Who knows for next season? I would like to go over to NXL Europe again, but we'll just see, where the cards lie. The biggest thing is Heat committed to play out there, and I'd like to play with my boys, so that's how it goes. But
right, exactly. That's why I know some guys are going over there and playing with like the Droogs and some other teams over there. So I was curious to know if maybe you had plans like that, because I know Heat can't go over because they're limited to no pro teams over there.
I wish I could. And I didn't really actively work too hard to find a team because this year was kind of my intentions this year was to travel and do as many clinics as possible, right? I never had like a clinic tour. I've always done like a playing tour. So I was starting to, do that. Like this whole winter, I probably did a private clinic or like some sort of like private session with some guys out here almost every weekend. So to go off of that and then just swing into full momentum to the season, I was looking to travel at least like 3 weeks out of the month just to do clinics and teach paintball because I mean, that's what I wanted to do, but obviously everything got shut down. So it was like,
no, everything's up in the air. I mean, that's probably why we're getting to talk to you right now. We can protect us or whatever it is.
Dude,
right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just so I was talking to Sam Monville yesterday from my team, and him and Tim Montresor were kind of shooting the shit, and they were like talking about how the last time that we have slept this many consecutive days in our own bed was like high school, dude.
Yeah.
Like, because after like right around high school, right after that, it's like you were gone for paintball for so much and to the extreme levels, right? So yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a learning experience. I think it's good for everybody though to kind of face what they need to be doing.
I mean, especially Tim, man.
Yeah.
Tim's like never. He goes. I was looking at something with him, and he was like, "Dude, I'm home maybe like a day." He's like, "I had to buy a chair because I'm like, you know what I mean." He doesn't.
Yeah, he's gone, dude. He's always that guy. Sam, him, like those guys are troopers, bro. And like, I did the whole tour last year. I tried to keep up, kind of at the scale of them, but it's just like they're go-getters. They really like him, Marcelo, Ryan, like those guys just live that, and they've been doing it for like multiple years. And it's like I did it for like 2 years, and I'm like,
yeah, those guys keep going.
Yeah,
like a local guy for us is Harrison Fry, and he's like that too. I mean, if you follow his Instagram, he's always in a different country somewhere.
Oh my gosh, Harrison, definitely. He's one of them. He's one of those travel rats where he's just like gone. And then he kind of works overseas, right? So he's always doing stuff overseas. So it takes a toll on your body, and not people like many people are like, oh, you're so lucky you get to travel. And it's just like, I know, but like, you don't understand what it'd be like to just be home for like more than 2 weeks.
Dude, it's like work. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like work, man. It's like even being on a divisional thing or anything like that. People be like, oh, like you went to Chicago. Yeah, man. I went outside Chicago. I went to, you know what I mean? I went to Badlands. I went to like, you know what I'm trying to say, bro? I ain't going nowhere special.
No, you're
dude,
not.
You went to Florida. But yeah, dude, I went to Fantasy of Flight, dude.
Yeah.
You go down a mile from Fantasy of Flight. It's in the ghetto, man. Like it's not. It's not what you think of it, what it is, but
exactly. What was it?
Still a shitload of fun.
What was it? Matty Marshall had a saying. It was like, you go to a city 10 times, but you never actually see the city, like
right.
It's the truth. So like, yeah, my girlfriend and I kind of had this argument. It's not an argument, but I was like, she uses travel to, relax and get away. And I use being home to relax and get away. So it was always hard to just balance that sometimes, where like we would travel somewhere and then I'd be like, oh, I just want to kick it in the hotel, right? Because I've been like doing shit. And then she's like, let's go explore. And I'm like, all right, we're going exploring, I guess. So, but it was like, once you just get away and kind of decompress. And I mean, so like last year was the biggest one or it was like last year, 2 years ago, it was like I went to Australia, and then from Australia I went to Thailand, and I played 2 back-to-back tournaments there. And then my teammates like Sam, Chad, George, Ryan, Marcelo, or whoever was there, they all went to World Cup Asia and Malaysia after that. So they went back to back to back, and I just those 2, and like after the Thailand one, I'm like, dude, I am just beat, dude. Like, because the Australian tournaments are really, really brutal. You play, what is it, 9 prelim matches, not just, and then we're talking race to 4 matches where you can go up to like 8 to 9 points, So you're talking, and you play 4 of those almost a day, right? And then go to the finals, you're playing almost 11 or 12 matches. And if you're dude, that's what I'm saying. And if you're an import, you're playing every point, because they brought you over there to play every point.
Yeah, they're making sure they get their money worth.
Right. I mean, and like some guys go over there and they let their guys play. But like when I went over there, I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm here. I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to try to play every single point of this tournament. Right.
Right.
And man, was that a mistake, because you're just beat, dude. I'm telling you, like you slam into the ground and you're just like, oh, I got to do it again. Like 4 more matches today. And you're just like, let's go, dude. That was the grind now.
So who'd you play with in Australia?
This team called Marauders. I kind of vlogged it a little bit on my YouTube channel. But the Marauders, they're just a group of guys. Like, I mean, they're just kind of like local family guys who just who love paintball, and they're a Lux sponsored team. So I went over there in 2018, just grew an amazing friendship with them. And like the first time I went over there, we got second. Then the next time I went over there, we got third. And then the event after that, we won. So that was like just amazing to see these guys' faces who it was like their second pro year. And like for them to taste that, and they're young guys. Like we're talking 17 to like 20 something, 29. Like the oldest guy was like maybe like 30. I don't know then their ages completely, but to see their faces, to be able to like, escalate to that level against all these teams that are local to them was really sick to help, build with them. So it was awesome. It was awesome to go over there and kind of be the Oliver Lang for their team, if you were to say, kind of like that plug-in.
What other pros were there? Like, who'd you play against? Like, I know Marcelo Greenspan usually played over there.
Yeah, actually,
Chad, George.
Yeah, Marcelo's team, Chad's team, and Ryan's team, like, because you play everybody. So I play them, right? And it was either, dude, it was always back and forth battles with all those guys. Like I remember going over there and like when the event we won in the semifinals, we had to play the Expendables, which was, like some of the Dynasty guys. Yeah. So, and so the rule is you can only have 1 pro player on the field at a time. If you have 2, then you lose season points or something, right? Okay. So Expendables roster was running short. Like, I don't know what happened. So they ran Blake and Ryan Greenspan. Ooh, so they had both pros on the field at the same time. But I kind of found a loophole. So this guy, Alfred De Los Santos, he played on New York Extreme, but he's been playing like pro NPPLs, right? Like when NPPL was a thing. And he's been like around the scene for a long time. We're talking.
He's from our neck of the woods. He's from Long Island.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we know him.
You guys know Alfred. So I sat there like for a long time. I'm like in my head, like thinking like, okay, if you can't have a pro player, who is the nastiest semi-pro players, right? That like would like to come. Well, he was already trying to plan a vacation. So I'm like, yo, just come to Australia. And he's like, yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm like, play the tournament with me too. And then we'll kick it after. And he's like, it's not a bad idea. So, and I'm like, and you're ranked what? He's like, I'm ranked semi-pro or D1 or something. I'm like, okay. And in my head, I'm like, this is my weapon, right? So I get him over there, dude. And everyone, like a bunch of guys were complaining. They're like, hey, he played pro. And he's like, but he's not ranked pro. And like, so yeah, dude. So we played expendable guys in the semifinals. It was just like a clash of the Titans, dude. We're talking like, all right, I got my boy. He's got his boy. Let's go at it, dude. Let's go. We're just going to go bash heads with these guys. So, to be able to do that and play against all those guys. And then Chad George ended up bringing Ryan Moorhead over one event. And it was just like, everyone got the idea like, hey, just bring the other pro, forget about it. Who cares about series points? Let's just go win.
Win one event versus the series.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone's buffing the rosters anyway. So, but yeah, no, it was a really fun time. 15 balls a second. So it's like chaos over there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was awesome to go over there and experience that.
Did you ever get to play the CXBL or anything like that, or any?
Let me see. What year did I do that? 2011, 2012, 2013, and 2014. I played 4 seasons at the CXPL.
Oh, nice.
The first season I played was 2011, and we didn't win. We didn't lose a single match the entire season. So that was really cool. Yeah. But it was like half of our roster was Aftershock guys and the other half was Distortion. And then we had this line of 5 Canadian players. So it was like, yeah, we're Canadian.
I felt like a lot of teams didn't, like a lot of damage guys go up there. I felt like a lot of different people went up there. I felt like, the same thing like you said with Australia, like teams had their pros.
Dude, but it was worse out there. So 2013, we were the Cowboys. And we played against, so one team was all damage. It was like Jason Edwards, Jacob Edwards, Chad Bougier, Billy Bernaccia, Matt Derula. It was like, that was their line. And our line was like me, Sloviak, LJ, whatever. But the craziest one was 2014 because we had Jacob Edwards, me, Chad, or Nick Sloviak, Ryan Greenspan, LJ. Who else do we have? Ryan Smith.
Stacked.
Dude, I'm telling you, I think I'm missing some names. Oh, Chad George too. So, and Moorhead. Oh my God, yeah. And maybe like we might have had Tim Onchester too. So we're talking like all-star line. The other team, dude, this roster we played against, it was Alex Goldman, Keith Brown, Jason Edwards, Jacob Edwards. So you're talking damage. You got some, like some former Impact players. Who else? Chad Bougier. Dude, but I'm telling you, like we had Marcelo played on that team too. So it was like just these all-star lineups playing each other. It was crazy to play, dude. It was awesome. It was so fun. Aside from losing from them in the finals, but well, we whooped them in the quarters that event. We really we put it on them, and then they're like, "We'll see you again." And then in the finals, I hurt my knee. And I'll tell you, I was having an event and then I had to sit out but I'm like, okay, we have Ryan and Jacob on the Dorito side, but then they just started racking points up and we lost. So, but that was like back in the day, the CXBLs, those were like really crazy all-star battles. And it was a ton of fun. And then things happened and then we just stopped going over there. I think we were trying to get the Russians over there, but it just didn't work out. That'd have been sick to see Fedorov and Mishka play that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have any aspirations to play the mechanical movement? I know some of your guys do. Like, will you be at ICC?
So I actually just picked up a CVO. I think it was this past year. And I've been messing around with that. And I'm super stoked. And Tim and the guys have been bugging me to come to the ICC. And it's not even bugging me, but more or less like just, trying to really get me to go out there. And I want to, right? Mm-hmm. My one issue with it, it's on my birthday.
Oh.
And a lot of them are like, well, why don't you just come to the paintball thing and we'll celebrate your birthday there? But it's almost kind of unfair to my girlfriend and people like my friends that are out here. Cause it's almost like, okay, I'm always gone for paintball. I'm always around paintball. Yeah. So for my birthday, let's do something non-paintball. And it always lands on like Lollapalooza, the music festival. So it's like Lollapalooza, my friends, and, kind of just doing something not paintball or like going to play, the ICC. And I want to this year. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I still haven't made that decision yet.
What about the?
I think you should go, but I'm biased. I thought it was a great time last year. So,
and that's what I keep hearing. Trust me. I'm teammates with Ryan Moorhead and Sam and Chad, and they're definitely the most
gung-ho.
Yeah, gung-ho about the entire event. And I understand it's probably really, really fun, but we'll see. I can't make a decision yet.
Yeah. What about the ICPLs? Have you been approached by any of the pro teams in that to come out and play?
Yeah, I got asked by a few different teams for that. I guess I just haven't ventured my way out there. I'll get to one eventually. I promise.
Yeah. Also, come say hi because that's my niche. I'm in the Ground Zero camp. So.
Oh, for sure. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. That's who didn't Nikki Cuba and all those guys play with y'all?
Yeah, back in the day. Now it's David Archibald and Chris Cole are kind of running the ship with Will Arroyo.
Cool. That's fucking awesome. I mean, I'm going to try to make my way out there. We'll see, right?
Yeah, no, it's a good time.
Yeah, I mean, after playing mech, I was playing mech I did a big game at Blast Camp earlier this year in Indiana. And just playing mech and doing that and then just messing around with the shocker. I was just like, dude, I want to get out there and just play this, dude. The format's so different. It's definitely a different feel of paintball that I haven't fully grasped yet in regards to playing so much, So
yeah, I really enjoy it. I love getting out there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll get out there. We'll see.
Mhm.
We'll see.
Now, do you play? I know you just mentioned Blast Camp and everything like that. Was that your first big game, or have you played some other big games before, or that kind of was your first?
I want to say that was my first like enthusiastically like involved experience, right? With like understanding like there's missions and all this stuff. Like I went to a Living Legends, and that's kind of considered, right? Yeah, a big game, but that was more of like I'm gonna just party with the HK guys and just have a good time, right?
Right.
And paintball was like the second thing that I was there for. But for this one, like Blast Camp asked me to come and be one of the special guests, but to be able to understand and like talk to like the community, and that it just makes me realize how much bigger paintball is. Like I knew it was, but it was just like it's so much bigger than what the tournament scene always sees and what I'm always at, right? That like you look at people's videos online, like the videos that hit the most on YouTube are like videos about like just like normal paintball stuff, right? Like a paintball headshot or a paintball overshooting, right? But like to tournament players, it's like, that's an everyday casual thing, right?
Right.
But to the general public, it makes you realize like paintball's humongous in the spectrum of like the mill, like the mill sim, or like the tactical side of it, the woods ball side of it. So experiencing those people and like meeting them, it was really, really cool to see. Definitely. It was a good time. I'll definitely play more of those.
Yeah, I like them too, mainly for what you said. Is like it's more like hanging out with my friends. Like that's how I got my start, was playing a bunch of scenarios ever before I played a tournament, and that was my hanging out, drinking the night before, and then you get to wake up and shoot some people with your buddies.
Dude, for sure. Hell yeah. How long have you been playing?
I haven't been playing since 14.
Okay.
I got into it very recently. I played
Sure.
scenarios for like 3 years, and then that's when I got linked up with Jonathan, who was on the Master Blasters at the time.
Okay.
And that was like my first sniff at tournaments. Played some UWLs, played some like things like that. I only played one NXL event when they came to Atlantic City, and I had a great time. And I just and then after that, this whole mech thing started, and I realized that through that platform, I would get the opportunity to play teams like Dynasty and a lot of the Heat guys. And to me, it's a better route to get better faster than to play all the D4 teams in my area, play all the D3 teams. Like I could just go out there and I'm gonna get smacked in the mouth a couple times, but I think it's progressing my game a lot faster.
And if you think about it like this, you're firsthand exposing yourself to the division that's at the highest caliber, right? You're going against the highest paintball IQs in the game.
Exactly.
And you don't have to play like, I don't know, for like 4 or 5 years just to even get a chance to play on a pro team, and then get smacked in the pro division, and then the pro team gets relegated because you're like one of the lower pro teams, like a lot of the pro teams have done, right?
Exactly.
So like your chances of playing, the Dynasty guys, like you said, or the Heat guys, are like, you're going to play them. You're guaranteed to play them,
Exactly.
So that's really cool. That's actually a good way to look at it. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to write that one down.
I didn't start playing until I was 25. I'm 32 right now. And I realized that listen, I don't have 10 years to make this climb. I got to figure out how to do this faster.
Yeah. No, I hear you. That's a great way to look at it. What about you, Jonathan? How long have you been playing?
I've been playing since 2005. So mostly I started I was like a big game, the dude with the tactical vest and all the the nerd ass pods and whatnot. And then I was like, this is fucking stupid. Like, I don't need all this bullshit. I had the stock and shit. And I'm like, and then I got a DM4 and I'm like, all right, this is way better. Let's rock and roll. Let's start playing real paintball and stuff like that. So I did the scenario scene for a bit. Then I got kicked off because I wanted to play World Cup. I don't know, I think it was 2011 or something like that. Ended up playing woods ball tournaments, and then woods ball with the Master Blasters guys, which is X Ground Zero. Like Cuba came out of there, the Blonskis and all those dudes. Eventually did that, kind of got burnt out, and then now I'm running an Xball League, which we started this podcast and stuff like that. So mostly through woods ball and through those woods ball tournaments, I've played with and against and have met I went to Costa Rica to play with Tom Cole. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how many people played with Tom Cole? Like,
Right.
we weren't bad company. He played with us, but I mean,
Yeah.
you
No,
know, it was good times.
You've been
I think
around the
those are the
block
best
then.
events.
You've been around the block then, though, so you got the experience. But then you got all the experiences with all the, the local guys and the pro guys in your area. And now, yeah, to say play with Tom Cole, like who says that, right? Who's able to say that? I actually had a poster of Tom Cole on my wall when I was coming up. I cut it out of a magazine. He was holding a Spider AMG, and he was like running someone down or something. I remember that. And then I reffed a Spider Cup, and that was the first time I met Tom Cole. And I told him I had a picture of him on my wall, and he goes, "Cool kid." And that was it. That was
So you were at the Spider Cup, what, the one that like Greenspan and them won, those cars, or not that one?
2007, I think. I was reffing it. 2007. There was one at the Badlands.
Oh, okay.
It was a regional that kind of put you towards the entire thing. And there's one at Badlands. I remember the spiders they had. I don't know what the spider was called. Like is it the Phoenix or something? But it was like one of the newer ones that shot really, really like smooth and fast. I don't know. That was really cool. It was a cool concept that was really good branding for Spider, actually. If you think about it,
Because everyone had to use the same gun, dude. It was the best of the best. And they had real prizes versus
Hummers, dude, versus what, like, no offense, but like, no offense to the NXL, but it's like, for what, to break even? Barely? Like,
yeah.
But
yeah, no, not even. You get in the lower levels, you get your entry money back, you know?
Yeah. I know. I mean, I don't know what it's going to take for the higher ups to, that's above my pay grade, but I don't know what it's going to take for the higher ups to put out a bigger cash pool. But that's a whole
like the $1 million question.
Yeah, it's a whole nother can of worms. It's more or less like where there's the money going. I don't know. I don't want to get too much into it.
Yeah, go down that rabbit hole.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So with COVID and everything like that, what have you been doing to like stay sharp?
This right here. You're looking
talking
at it.
paintball, eating sushi.
Yeah, pretty much.
Has anything opened up by you yet, or no?
I've actually been playing twice a week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the blast camp. The owner over there, his son and I have been doing drills like twice a week. And this guy Ryan, he operates this paintball club. It's called Free Parking Paintball. I might have mentioned it in other videos, but more or less like the spin-off of it is like the logo is the Monopoly guy with Uzis. It's pretty fucking sick.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
Did they get their stuff from HK? Because I saw him do, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So they've done stuff through Under because the guy who runs it, Ryan, he's a veteran militia guy. He was in the military, I believe. And then I want to say it's the military, but he did that for a while, and then he's really passionate about paintball, and he did stuff with Under, did stuff with HK. I actually did like a jersey kind of collab with them. It has like the gang hand on it and everything, and my logo. But the big thing that I love about his system is, you go to a paintball field, right? Especially nowadays, and if you don't have 5 guys on like a Sunday morning, you can't play. Like there's so many clicks, right? So what he does is he's basically a big open arms type of person, right? Where it's like you show up, if you're just there by yourself, it's a social community, right? So if you're there and you don't have anybody to play with, he's like, hey, dude, you can play with any of us. And he basically puts free parking as like almost like, and I'm trying to help him build it. It's more or less like if you see that logo at your old local paintball field, it's like, hey, dude, free parking. Awesome, man. Like, can I come play with you guys? It's like a welcome, right. Like, hey, like a cult almost, if you want to call it, but it's like, You see his logo and it's like, dude, hell yeah, man. Like I have a home here, right? Not this team who's super cliquey is not going to say, no, fuck off. This team over here is not gonna be like, we're good. It's like, I'll be able to run with you guys and not feel judged, not feel like pressured, right? And it'll kind of ease you into the scene. So I've been doing drills with him, a few of like one of his guys. So I've been keeping it like small parties of like 2-on-2s and stuff. That way it's not like crazy. But some guys have been playing on the weekends and doing like 5-on-5s and stuff, but it's more or less like I'm just trying to, like I said with Stella, it's like got to keep it low key when I come play. So
yeah, plus, I mean, in New York, everything is still shut down. We can't do anything. The field's not open.
I'm sure. Yeah, I talked to Alfred because he's a cop out there. I actually talked to him today, and he's just telling me about everything. So I'm sure. I mean, is everything shut down out there as far as paintball fields?
As far as paintball fields, nothing. I can't even get air.
Damn.
So kind of what you were saying with that free parking, that's something we've touched on with Kyle Barry from ML Kings, and something that I was kind of talking to him about is, like you just said, that's something that we had here where, dude, and I've seen it so many times across the past couple of years, is that if you're a rec ball player, for you to go up to the tournament field and even want to play, they're not going to do it. And then if they stand there and they're like hoping, luckily someone will be like, "Yo, okay, you want to get a freaking point in?" And I'll be honest with you, I'm not me. I mean, I'm past that point. But like, if I was one of those kids, I wouldn't stand there for 4 hours. I mean, maybe I would because I've done it before. But I don't see kids standing there for 4 hours waiting to play 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'm always active with doing that. And there was this younger kid, his name's Carter or whatever, and he was standing there, and I'm like, all right, let's get this kid in. Like, this is the first kid I've seen come to this b-ball field all year. Like, you know what I mean? This is the first time I've seen a kid do it. So I'm telling him, I think it was the Vegas layout. I'm like, dude, I'm like, you're low. I'm like, just get in the snake, and I'm like, pop up here, shoot the Dorito one. If you don't see one, just keep going. So he does it. Like, I didn't think the kid was really going to do it, but I was like, yo, you're small. You could, you play snake, right? Everyone that's small plays the snake. So he does it. He does exactly what I tell him. And I'm like, the kids that I went there with, I was like, why'd I even? I'm like, I'm done coaching you guys. Like, you're too old to like. I'm like, this kid already knows more than you do.
Yeah. Dude, that's the thing about young kids, right? Like, they're so ballsy. Like, some of these kids, it's like, yo, like, so there's 2 spectrums, right? There's the kids who are like complete pussies, right? And then there's the kids who are ballsy as shit, right? So there's that one kid who just goes out there and he's been playing, airsoft with his buddies growing up, and he's been like, he'll whip rocks at each other as a kid. He's not scared of shit, right? Uh-huh. And you send him to the center 50 to look right, and he'll look right for you all day. You could trust him with your life, right? He may not shoot the guy going right, but he'll look that way, And then you got the kid who was like, hey, like, can I jump on with you? It's like, cool. So you're jumped on with him. He's kind of like skeptical about speedball, but he wants to get into it. You could tell he's got all the gear. And then you're like, hey, we need you to go to the snake. And he's like, oh, I'll play the back center. And it's just like, you're not that kid. So you're going to the snake. And then it's just like, I've never played. I'm not good at snake. It's like, this isn't the right one.
Dude, you're young.
You
gotta, when you get older, you move back.
Yeah, 100%. But it's like those are the kids that like, those are the ones that's like, come on, just trust me on this one, bro. Like, trust me, like, you can be a very good player. But like, I think it's a fear thing with those newer kids, right? But no, like building off what you said, like, to see somebody on the sidelines who doesn't really have a home, and then just kind of give them some, at least, even if it's
a little push,
just a hey, come run with us, hey, try this, that could jumpstart someone's career. That could be like, oh, cool, because they're gonna go home and they're gonna be like, I played 1 point with those guys and I almost shot someone,
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or like, I won a point, like, I actually got to play today, right? And some of those kids go out there and they just hang out because they want to hang out, but they never really get included. So that's good, dude. You should do that as much as you can. And for people who are listening, do that as much as you can if you're a higher tier player in your area, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, that's, even just asking him, because I was like, dude, obviously, if you play, he's like, no, that was my first speedball point. And I'm like, dude, have you I'm like, where'd you see that? He's like, and it was after Vegas. He was like, oh, I just watched like 5 hours of the Vegas footage. And I'm like, all right, all right, hold on. You can play. My other boy comes out. I'm like, dude, you've been playing D4 for 5 years. Sit down. There's nothing for you to do. And then we get him in with so first it was like D4 guys he was playing with. Yeah. And then like some of the the D2 team needed some players or whatever. And they're like, we need a guy. I'm like, I bring him out. I'm like, all right, this is Dave. This is Justin. Whatever they tell you to do, just do it. Mm-hmm. So he plays another point. He plays good. He actually gets shot in the head in the back by like his own teammate, but whatever. It's all good. The third point though, he goes out there and they're like, yo, okay, what do you want to do? And he's like, I'm going to do this, but he's like, you should do this. And both of them just look at him like, and they're like, they look at each other like, he's right though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's right though.
Who does this kid think he is telling me what to do?
And then they like look at each other and like, but he's right. Like what he said was actually right for us to do. So that kind of spinned off into, he was like, because he's from Long Island or whatever. He's like, I don't know if my parents will let me go to Boston for the BKI summer camp. He's like, he's like, asking me, he's like, can we do a camp here? And I'm like, yeah, man. But I'm like, I want you to learn it. I'm like, I want you to actually learn it like people learn basketball. People learn like a real sport, like take it professional from the get-go. I'm like, dude, I don't want to teach you any bad habits. I'm like, so let me see if we can work it out, find something. I mean, there are a couple guys that are, Frank from Revo's Long Island pro, Robbie Altimore is playing with NYX. So I'm like, there are Long Island based pros. I'm like,
for sure.
Also got to see if those are guys that are good with, just are they good teachers either? You know what I mean? That doesn't necessarily mean, that they could do a clinic with working with young kids. Even it's a little bit different, but we're going to try something out.
For sure. I mean, I think the big thing is the player, like especially a pro player, he has to know how to explain things in a way where people can relate to it, right? Because it's one, the relatability, and then two, the delivery, and then three, I think the big thing is the actual motivation to actually want to teach. Because a lot of pro players just don't give a shit about teaching, which it is what it is. That's their motive, right? But for me personally, like growing up in the Midwest, and I don't know how it was like in Long Island, and I'm sure I'm going to guess it's the same. Growing up in my era, and I'm assuming your guys' era, you play points on the weekend, and then if you get smacked by a higher tier player, a lot of the times they just walk off the field and that's it, right? For me, it was the same way. It was like Aftershock or whoever's at the Avalanche camp, and they'd smack you, and then that was it. And you'd have to physically like seek questions and like really, really dive in deep for them to even give you any time of day, right? Nowadays, it's like I'll go play like, against whoever, and then I'll try to go over to the team I just played and be like, hey, do this, that'll slow me down or that'll stop me. That's all you needed to do. Just this one gun this way. And then if this guy would have helped this guy to come down, I would have been in a bad situation, but you guys didn't. So that's why I was able to take advantage of this move. And for them, I want to be able to like be that pro who could be like, okay, cool. You guys, that game, I got you. I want to show you how you can stop me from getting you. So it'll be harder on me. So now that player takes that and that team takes that, they do it the next game, they start perfecting whatever the thing was, right? So then like I basically, this is what I do in my clinics. It's like a filing cabinet, right? You give them one file, they put it away. So then when they go play, they get into that situation again. Oh shit, I remember that file that Ronnie gave me, right? So then I play them again and it's like, oh cool, they're using the file against me, I can see that it's applying. Let me pull another trick on them, like, okay, listen, that file worked, but let me write a little bit more on that file because this is the other thing that I can do during that situation. Now they're growing, right? Their cabinet gets from 3 files to 10 files. My cabinet is like skyrockets a file. So I'm throwing these at them, right?
Right.
So now what it's doing is the entire team's filing cabinet goes from like 10 files each to like 100. So now every single team that I do that for, the filing cabinets get bigger. The skill level of the entire area raises, right?
Right.
Now you're talking Division 4 teams that are playing Division 3 teams, Division 3 teams playing like Division 1 teams. Now I'm getting better practices and the entire area is getting stronger. So then next thing you know, give it like a year or two, the Midwest is a very strong area of paintball. That's what Texas is doing right now. Look at all the teams in that area that are really good, you know? It's because they have the camps to give them the files to grow their cabinets, so they're getting better and better. Now, Texas is probably the mecca of paintball right now because of how good their camps are,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you draw a Texas team in an event, no matter what division you're in, and they play at like AC Dallas's field or X Factor's field. It's like shit.
Paintball Fit fucked us up, bro. Paintball Fit.
That's what I'm saying. They're doing it right, though, right? And it's hard to do that when you don't have pros willing to do that in the area, right? Because if the pros, like especially what sucks about our area is the Chicago Aftershock stopped as a pro team, right? Because of them getting relegated. It is what it is. That was their performance. But what happens from that is all the players that went to Badlands that looked up to the Shock guys, right? Now don't have somebody in their area to help that. So there's going to be a cap on that level, right? There's nobody to teach them anymore. They're not going to get any more info unless they travel to the combines or travel to somewhere else. So I want to do that for our area. And I'm sure, I don't know what it's like in the East Coast area. I'm assuming the New York Extreme guys like Robbie does that. And I know. Maybe
So
Frank. I don't know. That's
yeah,
the thing.
I mean, they, honestly, man, I mean, Robbie specifically, and like Frank, whatever, they do their thing, and more so on Robbie, like. It's crazy because like I've known Robbie a long time and he's been close to being a pro like so many times. Like he won a pro spot, MPPL folded. He was on Brooklyn Bears and they folded, and then all of a sudden they brought up 5 teams or whatever.
Mhm.
So, and the other thing with Robbie was he wasn't even supposed to be at Vegas. Like the week before Vegas, he was practicing at our local field.
Right.
Just playing, dude. Just playing against us, like, like D4 Woods Ball dudes and shit. Like, and then all of a sudden, like, my boy calls me. He's like, yo, Robbie's on the webcast. I'm like, dude, he got cut. What are you fucking talking about?
NYX, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, he got cut. I'm like, and then they're like, yeah, they're like, dude, no, they needed him. He's in the stink. I'm like, dude, no, it's not. I'm like, all right, let me turn it. I'm like at work. I'm like, all right. Close my office door. I sell insurance and close the door. And I'm like, oh man, I was wrong. You know what I mean? I'm usually not wrong with that stuff, but
no, he's a great player, dude, and he's a good guy. That's the thing. Like he's a nice. Like I've had a lot of talks with Mike, Magic Mike.
Magic Mike, yeah, man, love Magic Mike.
He actually came to Chicago for work or something, and he's like, "Hey, I'm taking you and your girl out for sushi." I'm like, "Okay." So we had some sushi, and we're just talking. He was filling me in on all the East Coast paintball, almost to the point where I was like, "Stella, you probably should have just stayed home because all we're talking about is paintball, right?"
Yeah.
But yeah, so he filled me in and he talked about Robbie a lot and he talked highly of him. And I know Robbie from just, playing on the Bears and getting to know him and practicing against him. But I don't know if in his area, he could be that guy who helps elevate, the entire scene. I don't know what the NYX guys do. Like I said, I'm not too familiar. They're a great group of guys. Awesome, funny. I don't know if Frank is with that guy, but maybe they're just not, they're not the guys to go do that because they don't want to, but somebody has to, right? If they want paintball to survive in the area, right? So it could be just you just doing what you did with that kid, right? Or it could be, wherever, whatever tournaments you guys are at, just to be able to shed some light on, someone who's a lower tier player than you. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents on it.
No, that's what we're working on, man. That's what what I'm kind of working on. It was kind of this kid kind of like being like, he was kind of the one that was like pushing me to do it. And then, so I was like, all right, we'll do a camp. I was like, we'll see what it is. I talked to the local field. We're going to do one. Then I talked to, this guy, Pat Sinelli, who is the coach of NYX that got cut, but he's good friends with Robbie. So Robbie's trying to I'm in touch with Frank and Robbie to try to do it. It's just, it's working it out and everything like that. At the end of the day, dude, I'm not trying to it's got to be worth it for everybody involved. You know what I mean, bro? People's times are worth something. You know what I mean? And, I want to put a good camp for the kids and whatnot. And, we're looking at doing it. Some kids have played before. Some kids, they're going to be fresh off the thing, off a Craigslist ad or Facebook or a YouTube or a mailer or something. And that's kind of, Kyle Berry did something similar like that in Florida. So, it's not exactly the same, but it's, Kyle's was doing his thing in Florida. You're looking at doing something, with Chicago with the free parking thing. So it's kind of like, that whole grow paintball thing, what you're doing, that free parking thing, that's a real grow paintball thing. What Kyle's trying to do, what I'm trying to do, that's a real grow paintball thing. You know what I mean? Helping a kid at the field, because to me, I felt like the conversion rate when I started was a lot better. I went to a birthday party. 4 or 5 of those, out of the 20 dudes, 4 people bought guns and 3 people played a couple of years and 2 people still play. I feel like nowadays it's 1 in 1,000 of even talking to the field owner, he's like, oh, dude, I don't, maybe 1 out of 1,000 buy a gun and whatever. I'm like, dude, that's terrible. I don't know, man. I'm not trying to bash on field owners either, but it's just I feel like, I don't know, man. You got to cater towards the 3rd, the 4th. You got, what I mean? You got to look at someone for the long haul. And the other thing too is they're always speedball players or whatever. Dude, a speedball player will spend 10 grand just because you don't get it right away. You don't get that $60 hit right in the first time. You're getting it sprinkled out through years and years and years. You got to look at someone as a long term. Are you in business for a weekend? Or are you in the business long term? Yeah. And I know there's different stuff at different fields. So that's why, I'm sure you've been at plenty of fields, you've spoken to plenty of owners, you've been on a couple pro teams, you know what I mean? So I'm sure you've seen it too, but I don't even know where I was going with that one, but yeah, man, just grow it. And it seems like, No, I know you said you play with Jackson, and I know he made Team USA. I mean, there's a lot of hype on that kid and stuff like that. So
I think the big thing that we can reiterate is if field owners, they're like a wooden ship, right? And if they keep patching the holes and then the holes keep breaking, then nothing's going to continue to float, right? But if they start replacing the wood as in like doing new things to grow, right? Then that's what's going to skyrocket. I mean, you look at, I'll bring up Bear again, Bear DiGidio in California. He's exposing so many people to the sport of paintball because he's using the power of social media, right?
Right.
And I feel like a lot of field owners are pretty old school to the point where they just don't use it to its full potential, right? Like even if they had to hire and invest some money into a social media team to just blow their shit up, you know, like think about if a field had like 100 to 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, everyone would want to go to that field because they see it all the time, right? But if it's just like a, like an Instagram post here and there and like a story, like it's like, dude, you got to go full offense on it when it comes to like showing what paintball is to people. And I feel like a lot of field owners focus too much on making those few extra bucks in the short term, like you're talking about, rather than looking long term at the entire picture and going, I'm going to put a piece of content about the field up every single day, even though it's COVID. I'm going to now double down.
100%, dude, and dude, and more so now than ever. Like even with this, like like I've spoken to the local field or anything like that. They're like, well, we're not gonna tie. I'm like, dude, it's not a lot. We're not talking a lot of money. I'm like, first of all, our pot, it's me, it's him, it's most. I got the graph, dude. Most of our people are coming from Long Island. So if you're a Long Island or a tri-state field, why would you not be in people's faces? So the minute you do open up, that people are coming to your field versus the other field.
Thirsty for it, dude. Thirsty for it.
I mean, dude, I'm just me. I'm thirsty for paintball content, whatever. But it's like, like you said, it's like they're too old school. I mean, I would even say like, I think this is like a paintball problem. Is that they want to hold on to the little piece of the pie so much, but they want to they're the guy that is mowing the lawn and they're the guy that's doing the social media and there's this whatever, versus it's like, dude, like, and the cost of all this stuff is getting so much lower and lower nowadays, with Facebook lead gen ads and all that kind of stuff. I'm not a wizard on any of that either.
No, for sure.
We got a mentor guy that we're working with on some of this stuff, the podcast stuff. And it actually helped us, we're like 255 in sports. Like, dude, that's pretty,
awesome.
That's awesome. Right. So our whole thing is with that, going back to the field owners, it's like, dude, I just think it's a painful problem too, where it's like, not to bash that any pro that's the head of sponsorship or whatever. To me, it's like, dude, if I don't know something, I'm gonna hire
find someone who does. Yeah. Right. A lot of people just go, I don't know how to do that. It's like, dude, you have if you have a cell phone, you have literally the world in your hand. You could learn anything, dude. Like the only thing that you need to do is spend an extra 2 hours to actually go do that thing. Right. Like it's like my YouTube channel. Like if I didn't spend like every day filming when we were on trips, right, I wouldn't have the content that I have. Dude, there's a lot of flack for a lot of people are giving me shit about that People's Champ thing, because they're like, how did Ronnie beat out Colt Roberts and all these other people? It's like,
dude, you built a brand, bro.
It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with like my player, like my pedigree as a tournament player. Like I think I have a pretty decent one, right? And like these guys have obviously they're Hall of Famers, which is awesome, which is great. They're great players, but like this has to do with like how captivating you can have with your fan base and really show the dedication of them actually going in on you. And sometimes it goes in your favor, sometimes it doesn't. But I think for that thing specifically at the time, I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to talk to my fans, talk to my fan base, talk to people who actually supported me since the beginning and see if they have my back or not, And that's all it came down to. And a lot of people were like, oh, this, that, it's a popularity contest. Of course it's a popularity contest. It's an online vote.
It's the People's Champ. It's not stats, bro. It's the People's Champ.
Come on now. Like, so if fields, so to compare that to fields and businesses, and it could be any business, right? If you're not doing things that build a audience, right? Like you guys with your podcast or a field owner trying to get his field name out there. If you guys aren't doing things on the internet right now, then you're at a severe disadvantage against everyone else, right? and you're severely hindering yourself, right? If you have the time to like even look at your phone and go on YouTube or go on Facebook, then you have the time to make a post and actually like study a little bit of it, right? I mean,
Yeah, no, right.
It's
just
not
lazy.
as long as people think it is, man, to post. You know what I mean? People hear like, oh, I got to post every day. Dude, you could do it on the toilet. Like, bang, it's fucking
and then
done.
people say they hate social media. It's like, great, awesome. Well, while you're hating social media, there's a company out there that's making your money that you could be having because you're too busy hating it. Like,
Yeah.
like,
dude, you might as well be dead, bro. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to like, with everything that's going on, bro, but you might as well be dead, dead, sleeping or anything like that.
Adapt, yeah, exactly. Then if you're gonna stop growing, then just stop growing and then leave some for everyone else. Like, just stop it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. It change for a lot of people is hard, and I feel like that's what is the driving force behind all these new technology is not going to get dumber.
Right. It's only going to advance.
We're not going to go backwards. Like, you think that, and I'm sure so many people are like, oh, it's like I miss the old days where like you didn't have all these people on their cell phones. It's like, why don't you just realize like everyone is on their cell phone now and get in their face rather than like complaining about everyone on their cell phone?
Dude, maybe you're just not interesting enough to captivate their attention, you know?
Yeah, sorry. That sucks.
Yeah, those people are the same people that post once every month and are like, why do I only have one like? It's like,
oh my God. Please. Yeah, exactly. Like I have a buddy, I'm not gonna say any names, but I have a buddy who he posted, I just took a look at his page today. He posted March 14th, right? It's been almost 2 months, right?
Was it the guy you beat at the player people's champion?
No. No. He has actually nothing to do with paintball. I used to play paintball with him. He plays occasionally, but he posted once in whatever, at least a month and a half, right? And he's in the real estate industry, right? And
dude, come on, man, dude.
What
in the real estate industry?
My guy, like, so he's like sending emails, right? Like emails to like his clients and people, and like I'm getting some of them, and it's like things to do during COVID. It's like, bro, like, why isn't this everywhere, right? Like, it's a great email. It's like, but like, you are just hindering.
Take that piece of content and use it across.
Just videotape yourself reading that piece of content, put it on your page, and boom, you got a piece of content, right? Next day, the email that you had planned, just read it and with your face. So they have your face associated with it because they could relate to a human now, because people would rather look at someone's face talking than something to read. Because it's like, you think about it, let's be real. You're on Instagram, you see just some words, you're just like, flip. You see a video, you're like, okay, let's see what this is all about.
Give it 3 seconds.
Right? You look at Gary Vaynerchuk, dude. He's on it, dude. He is like, you see his post, it's like, boom, he's in your face and he's going to captivate you with that first 10 seconds of the video. Now you're going to watch the whole thing. Now you're a minute into the video and it's over and you're going and you're like, oh shit. Okay, cool.
And then you see his ad on Facebook, and then you see it, and then you see him in your dreams, dude. That's like
dreams, that's dude. You close your eyes, he's there. So it's the same thing. You got to apply that all. And I feel like, to my buddy, shout out if you're watching, but get the fuck out there.
But the times now, like even us starting the podcast, like we can say, I know we're new in the content creation game. You've been in it for years, so it's like Facebook is free advertising, man.
Free.
FREE, man.
Yeah,
you get thousands of people to check out your content.
Oh, free, and you can target them too. Like,
yeah,
what?
Like I don't know.
I get it, dude.
It's silly. It's silly.
Listen, we get it. We're not talking about us, so.
Yeah, exactly.
For those of you out there, take advice from Ronnie and get your social media game up.
Listen to these guys. These guys preach too. Travis and Jonathan, you guys preach too. You guys know what you're talking about. You guys are killing it with this.
I'm not gonna call it my local field, but like, I post more than them. Like my local field should be posting like every gun they have for sale on the wall.
Frown it, bro.
Every bunker on the field.
Get on it, dude. Post like at least like a boomerang of like the fucking gun, and then like the next clip, post a picture of the field. Like, can't wait to be out here, bro. Just get on it, dude. You should be on this fucking phone 24/7. So
especially now, like, what else is everyone doing? Like, come on.
It's exactly.
You got to prime the pump, man. You just got to get people like I don't know, man. Like I don't know. They reseeded the grass, but like it was in the little 100-person Facebook group that I made the group, so it's good for me. I got the control. I got the lockdown on that. But you know what I mean? It was in that group, and I'm like, dude, why wasn't this on the page or whatever? And the other thing too, dude, is it's like people. I don't know. I was guilty of this when I used to run my my woods ball tournament, which actually you're the logo on because you freaking said to me.
Yeah. That was 2008. 2008.
I was like, because you're like, because I like something that you had, and you're like, dude, that's me and your logo, and I'm like, what the fuck? What are you talking about, dude? And like, because a friend of mine made it that I don't even have contact with, whatever. I was like, dude, make me a logo. I was like, I like the PSP one, but I don't want it exactly. And then you said it to me, and you're like, I don't have the exact photo, but I got something like it was like a MySpace screenshot, and I'm like, that's fucking crazy.
I have that photo somewhere on my phone, but like, okay, so funny you said that. Raza made a shirt with that outline one day, and it was everywhere, and everyone still has it. And bro, I saw that, and I go, that's fucking me. And that's when I started seeing that thing. And this was 2014, and I'm like, that's fucking me, dude. And they're like, prove it. And I showed them the photo because it was when Raza just sponsored Houston Heat, and I was like, that's fucking me. And I remember this guy Zach Wong. He was like one of my buddy's friends. He just came out to take photos of paintball, and he doesn't even have anything to do with paintball. And he took photos because we were practicing for Chicago 2008. And I remember, so that I don't know who took that outline and made it into that. Next thing you know, I went to Russia to go play a tournament with Fedorov and all them. And we go to this field. Okay, so there's Russia, and then we went to this other part of Russia called Kazan. And like you had to take a flight there, like a 1-hour flight. So I went to Russia, took another flight somewhere else. We just went there for one day. We went there to practice because there's only one field in Russia, and if you don't have a practice slot, you have to go somewhere else. Like there's nowhere else.
So you flew, so you flew because you didn't have the practice spot, or
we couldn't get field time, so it's like, hey, we have to take a flight. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, just pack a backpack and your gear bag, and we're taking a flight to Kazan, and then we're flying back. And I'm like, what the flew across the world, and we got to fly somewhere else now just to practice for one day. So we flew to this place. It was way cooler than like Kazan's like, it's like, it felt like the Miami of Russia to me. Like just the vibe there. It was just like, okay, there's cities, there's buildings. Like everyone's not all pissy all the time.
So it worked out.
Right. I was like, let's just stay here. Fuck it.
Right.
So we played in those, they had those big domes, right? And that's the only fields they had out there. So we went in there, and I'm sitting there, and there's a gun rack, and you put your gun on it, and the fields are super nice. There's locker rooms and shit. And I sit down, and I see this gun rack with this outline of this paintball player, and lo and behold, I'm like, that's fucking me. How did it get over here? I'm sure that Zach Wong guy is probably like, what the fuck? So. No,
damn, dude, I should be paying you royalties or something, man. My fucking that's me. I've been everywhere. What the fuck?
I just think it's so cool that like that one photo made it to so many places, dude. It's fucking wild.
No, man, that's crazy. So going back to what you were just saying, I don't even remember where I was going, but I know you said, so you played a tournament in Russia?
Oh, yeah. I would play, it's called the Ice Ball, Russian Ice Ball tournament. And it was like, okay, like imagine like all the Russian mafia played the tournament pretty much. Like it was so many old school Russian Legion players and like all the Russian Legion players played on all these different teams. There was all these stacks of different, and it was just me, Fedorov, Sergey, Devin, and Nico. And that was our line. And then we had this one guy, another Sergey, and he was like a bodybuilder trainer. He was like our fitness coach. He like, we went to the gym and he like did fitness training with us. And then he played on our team. Right. And then we had this other guy, Jason Burns, who he works for ProShar right now. Okay. And he plays on the Russian Legion, I think, actually right now.
I think he just got picked up from whatever. Yeah.
So he played with us for that. But those guys were those were like the alternates, and we would just put them in when we secured the win of the games. But funny story, that Sergey, like bodybuilder guy, like I remember Nico Hyde walking onto the field because the match was pretty close. And Nico goes, Fedorov put that Sergey guy out there, and Nico goes, can we play you, Fedorov? Like, I want to win this fucking tournament. Basically right in front of this guy's face, right? And I'm playing the Dorito side of this guy. I've never seen him play in my life, dude. And like, I'm like, he has like everyone else's hand-me-down gear, like he has no idea what he's gonna do. Dude, I'm telling you, this guy played the Dorito side better than I ever did, right? So like he like went to the Dorito like 3 off the break, right? And I'm behind him. I'm trying to catch up to him. And then he just stands, he like cuts inside. And this Dorito side was one of these where it was like Dorito 50. So like it like led to the 50, right? Mm-hmm. Well, he didn't go to the 50. He just cut to the inside where there was no bunkers, right? He was in the open, and he was just blinding everyone out and snapping. Like, I'm telling you, he's like in the open. He's just like crack, switches hands. He's in the open still using another blind zone, crack, then another blind zone, crack. And he's like standing in the open, just shooting all these people. And I'm like, oh, he's going off. He's going off. And Nico's like, I was so wrong and I'm so sorry. Dude, it was crazy. So yeah, we went over there, played that tournament. We went over there because we wanted to go train with them. And then just experience Russia. Nico has been there before, but Devin and I haven't. So it was cool to go out there, play with those guys. And then we played that tournament. I got 0 sleep the night before because of the jet lag. And then we won the tournament, which was really cool. It was really awesome.
Awesome.
So just to be out there was really like the Russian Legion training facility with the weights and everything. It was just cool to experience that. I have a lot of footage from it that I never put out, and everyone's very upset about it. But
I thought you ran out of footage, man. Now it's time quarantine, man. Come on.
That's a good point, dude. I do have all that footage still. Maybe I'll crack into it, but I probably won't for anybody watching. So
don't hit me up and ask me about it. No,
I probably should. I might
do it.
We're talking into it as we go.
You guys are very well doing that, and this is a great time for me to do that.
So try wrapping this up because I'm sure you don't have unlimited time, and I want you to get back to your girlfriend. I like to ask all the pros this question. So we have a lot of guys that actually are new at paintball who listen to this. If you could give like one piece of advice from a lower divisional player to be like, hey, listen, this is the one thing you should focus on to get better, what would that be?
Play more.
Just play, right?
Play a lot. Like, I'm talking like the best learning thing that you can do is to play as much paintball as you possibly can, right? So when I get this question a lot, and I always answer with that simple answer, right? But it's not the answer they want to hear, but it's the right answer, right?
It is, right? Nothing beats experience.
So when a kid says, how do I get good at the snake? I say, well, play the snake more. How do I get good at the Doritos? Play the Doritos more. How do I get good in the back center? Play the back center more. They're like, oh, well, like they want the detail, right? They want like,
you want to be spoon fed.
Yeah, they want to be like, okay, go to the snake and then like, try this, try that. And some pro players do that. My thing is get to the snake, play the snake 150 points, right? Go ahead, go do that for the next month, right? Play the snake for 150 to 200 points, right? Then come to me with some feedback and some info, right? Because if you haven't played the snake yet, or if you just start, you'll learn. I want you to like get in there and learn the hard way. Get the fuck in there, get down the snake, get in people's faces, get bunkered 50 times. You bunker somebody 50 times. You get down the snake. Now you come back to me like, hey, I am pushing it and I'm making it to their snake one every point, and then I'm getting shot out. What's happening? Now I got some info. Now I can get into detail, right?
It's a more like refined question that he's asking you.
Yes. So, but when somebody goes, hey, I want to get into speedball, what should I do? Get the fuck out there and play speedball then, right?
It's like with anything, dude, just do it.
Just go do it, right? So I compare this to Call of Duty, right? If somebody wants to get good at using a sniper rifle, right? In the game of Call of Duty, you need to use a sniper rifle a lot, right?
Yeah, just keep using it.
So if you use the sniper rifle for 30 days against somebody who's used it for an entire year, right? That person is going to know the exact timing of like the scope in. You're going to know the exact like speed of how you're going to flick the shot at them. You're going to know exactly like the spots of every single map because like you've played them all, right? And then it's just experience at that point, right? So field experience is key, dude. It's king. It's what makes you better than the next person. It's the filing cabinet. Back to that. So for someone with a small filing cabinet, get out there and grow your cabinet to what you can make it, right? So that's how I feel people and players can get better. We can get into it like deep, like minuscule things, but that's like what a clinic's for. That's what hands-on training is for. So
right.
But
that's more like individual basis based on that player's needs.
Yeah. So like the more general experience or the more general advice is just to play as much as you can to get some reference experiences. Then you have situations where you could be like, okay, I could not figure this out. Now I could pick the brain of someone who knows,
Right. Yeah. And that's advice we hear a lot. Like we did Justin from Level a couple weeks ago. And that's what he says. Like, if I can give you one advice, stop buying the new gun and take that money and buy paint.
Play. Yeah. Some people get caught up with the whole, so I've been getting into the gaming scene, right? The streaming and gaming scene. And I was kind of in that rabbit hole. I would get caught up in making sure like, okay, like the mic was right, the headphones, the camera, obviously, but once you get to the point where you maximize all that, there's a fine line where it's like, okay, like maybe I do need like that extra bit of like audio tuning, but it's like, no, dude, I just need to go start gaming and start playing and getting out there more. Right. So, a lot of people, especially with content creation like podcasts, it's like, okay, I did 3 podcasts, like, and I'm only seeing, a few viewership. It's like, why don't you do like 100 more and then come back to me and tell me if you got
Yeah.
right?
I hear you on that too. Same thing with equipment, same thing with everything, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, just start the fucking podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
And people want it to be perfect, which is great. Okay, awesome. If you're going to be that person who wants it to be absolutely perfect, right? Then go maximize it to the point where you think it's perfect. And then let me see if you're actually going to make some content with it.
Right.
Like some people just like the gear, like, oh, I'm not going to play tournaments until I get a Lux. It's like, what the fuck? Just go, play. There's kids out there with a Tipman who are playing more than you. And because they're going to be better than you because they're playing a lot. And you're sitting here fantasizing about your gun. Like,
yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, that guy's got better core skills because he's been out there actually playing.
Yep, 100%. I mean, obviously there is a point where like the equipment will hinder you, right? Like somebody with a, somebody with a non-electronic hopper versus someone who does. Like, yeah. But once you get the base things that you need, dude, you just got to put in the work. So that's my sign off is put in the work.
Yeah, put in the work. All right, cool, TM. Before we sign off, plug all the sponsors for Heat, and if you got any personal, make sure everyone knows who helps you do what you do.
I want to thank Gary Vaynerchuk for inspiring me to be very hardworking. I want to thank Houston Heat, the owners, Mama D and Sarge, for allowing me to play professional paintball and spread the paintball gospel to everyone. I want to thank Pennzoil, Pepsi. No, I'm just kidding. I want to thank DLX.
I was like, damn, when'd you get those ones? Breaking news.
I've been sleeping. When did this happen? Good for Heat. Hell yeah.
That'd be so tight. DLX, HK Army, NS Gear, Nike, all the companies that, help Houston Heat be who they want to be. Transfuse is like a hydration company that I've been helping grow in the paintball industry. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. And then the Dizon Docs people, fans, family. I appreciate all of that. And
tell people where they can find that and where they can find you on social media too. It's just
for sure
Docs on YouTube, right?
Yeah. So if you go to YouTube or you go www.youtube.com/Ronnie Dizon is my vlogging channel. And then if you go to youtube.com and type in Ron Don Dizon YT, that's like the channel I live stream on. So a lot of people don't know, they can just go there during my video game live streams and just ask me questions and I'll answer them. And I feel like I've gotten a lot more of those people coming in like, yo, like, talking about paintball as I'm playing video games because it's a good way like to directly interact, right. And then on Instagram, it's Rondon Dizon. And then, that's pretty much it. Those are the ones I use the most right now. But the big thing I want to talk about is just making sure everybody's, being positive during this time. I know a lot of people are going through a lot of stuff. I know I am. And it's just being strong and, paintball is a good way to have a good community around you. And, I want to thank Jonathan and Travis for having me on because by doing what they're doing now, they're still keeping paintball alive and relevant by putting out hot and spicy content. So
I was going to wait for the content or a gang in there or something like that. I was going to say, where can they find the content? But he already kind of went off on that. But dude, Ron, man, I appreciate it, man. Definitely good luck out there. I'm glad that, you're the logo for my, defunct league. Might run an event now since the logo's on there. No,
I might have to come out. We'll do that. Yeah, let's do it.
We'll definitely maybe get you in. Or I know you said you want to do a clinic, so when things, we'll get you down out here to Long Island. And
maybe we can expand free parking New York or New Jersey East Coast area. You're in New York.
Yeah, we're New York. So fucking tri-state free parking, dude. Take free parking worldwide. It's a good idea.
That's what I'm saying. We got Sloviak doing free parking Florida. So if we want to expand this, dude, I'll talk to him today and we'll get it all hooked up. So make sure you guys in the East Coast area watch out because free parking's coming, baby.
Hell yeah, man.
All right, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thanks to Ronnie Dizon again for being on the show. And thanks you guys for tuning in. And we'll catch everyone later.